So today we'll be going over some stories with John Cena, Paul Heyman, and a lot of the big returns that are being teased for a big event. So let's get into this interesting story on how one WWE superstar thought his Smackdown career was over after an incident in a match with John Cena from several years ago. This superstar in question was Nakamura. This entire incident happened on a 2017 edition of Smackdown where John Cena accidentally ended up landing on his head during one of Nakamura's moves. A lot of people watch that match back and say it wasn't Nakamura's fault. Even John Cena himself told Nakamura not to be sorry. But everyone backstage seemed to be enraged at Nakamura for that head drop, and a lot of people claimed that it could have been that moment that WWE gave up on Nakamura and had second thoughts. Nakamura confirmed the reports about the backstage reaction after that match during an interview with Gorilla Position. He had this to say: "They were so upset with me, like, why did you do that? I thought my WWE career was finished that day, but everyone came to support me, even John Cena. He said it wasn't his fault, it was my fault." So even John Cena came out and tried to take that blame after Nakamura was taking so much heat from people backstage. Even Nakamura thought everything was over that night. Nakamura did go on to win the Royal Rumble the following year, but never actually captured the WWE title itself. Do you still believe that we'll see Nakamura as WWE champion one day? Paul Heyman said a lot of things this week that had a lot of people talking, so let's go over everything he said and everything that's going on with Roman Reigns. The first thing Heyman said was something we talked about earlier this week, and that was his line about Roman Reigns running the Fiend out of town. Heyman also responded to a picture that WWE Fox posted of The Rock and Roman Reigns side by side. Paul Heyman responded to the post by saying that Roman Reigns was a better champion and bigger box office attraction than The Rock. Heyman didn't stop there. He also made several comments on Talking Smack. Heyman mentioned several recent released talent after Caleb Braxton mentioned a Cup of Joe. Heyman said that they don't talk about people who don't work here anymore. He was of course referring to Samoa Joe, who was recently released. Heyman also mentioned Renee Young and Charlie Caruso. He also mentioned how they won't talk about Caleb Braxton one day as well. So just a funny little moment Heyman threw in there with some of the recently released talent. Heyman also took a direct jab at WWE champion Bobby Lashley during Talking Smack. He had this to say: "Is anybody really on Roman Reigns' tier right now? I saw Bobby Lashley getting pinned by Kofi on Raw. Well, I kind of watched it on my phone when I was at the YouTube clip because I don't watch Raw because it doesn't compare to Smackdown. And you know why it doesn't compare to Smackdown? Because Smackdown is benefited by the graces of the presence of your tribal chief, the most preeminent champion in the history of WWE. The GOAT, the greatest of all time, the end-all be-all, and the tribal chief who will defend his title against anyone that wants to step up and see what he can do at Hell in a Cell. The reigning, defending, undisputed, uncontroverted WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion, Roman Reigns." So Heyman's comments brings us up to the next topic, and that question is, who is on Roman Reigns' level? The more superstars he continues to defeat, the harder that question becomes to answer. It really doesn't seem like anyone is truly capable of defeating Roman Reigns for that Universal title. Maybe somebody like The Rock, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, or someone like The Fiend. That's probably your top tier of credible opponents for Roman Reigns. But besides those few big names, Heyman is right. Who's going to stop him? Well, Cesaro did challenge Roman Reigns to a Hell in a Cell match on SmackDown, but Seth Rollins attacked him and he was taken away on a stretcher. So everything seems to be up in the air there as well. It appears that Cesaro and Seth Rollins may be back feuding with each other. And if that's the case, then who will Roman Reigns face at Hell in a Cell? We'll probably get that answer in the next few weeks. The focus seems to be on Jimmy and Jay right now, who will be teaming up for the first time in well over a year. So that tag team match should also be important to Roman Reigns' story as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. If Cesaro is written off for a few weeks, or if he comes back only for Seth Rollins, that does make things very interesting for the Universal title picture. Some people have been mentioning Edge. Well, Edge vs. Roman Reigns does fit that narrative for the Hell in a Cell event. That event is supposed to mark the end for long, intense rivalries. Edge is technically an old rival for Roman Reigns that never got his one-on-one title match, so that story seems to line up perfectly for Edge. But what makes the Edge theory seem unlikely is the circumstances around everything. Edge works limited dates, so it honestly doesn't make sense to waste one of his limited dates in June with no fans, when fans will return just a few weeks later in July. It's like, why not hold off Edge until SummerSlam then? So that's what makes the Edge Hell in a Cell match so unlikely. Doesn't seem like they will waste one of his appearances with fans being right around the corner. So it may be another old rival for Roman or another quick new rival. We'll have to see how that turns out there and who steps up to face Roman Reigns at WWE Hell in a Cell. Impact Wrestling has been in some massive headlines for all the wrestlers that they are apparently teasing for Slammiversary. The major wrestlers that have been teased for the show so far include Mickie James, Samoa Joe, Chelsea Green, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Andrade, Daniel Bryan, Steve Cutler, and Wesley Blake. Some of these names haven't been officially confirmed for the show, but Impact has been releasing these teaser trailers that contain hidden messages and teasers that are referencing some of these former WWE superstars. The IIconics symbol can be spotted in the video with the exact same colors that the logo featured in WWE. There's also a moment in the trailer with a graphic of the word yes. And of course, when it comes to wrestling and anything with the word yes, you of course think of Daniel Bryan. It's a bit fishy and weird though. Does Impact actually have all these superstars booked for their big show? Or is this some type of marketing and advertising trick just to build up hype for the show? That can definitely be true. They haven't flat out confirmed these names, but they are throwing big hints that fans can easily pick up on. So, is this just false advertising to build up the hype, or can we actually expect to see the IIconics, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, and others at this event? That's what everyone has been discussing. Fans are pulling up old interviews from 2014 where Daniel Bryan said that he had no interest in signing with Impact. But like some fans have pointed out a lot has changed, and a lot of time has passed since 2014, so maybe the time is right for Daniel Bryan to sign with Impact Wrestling right now. No one really knows. Daniel Bryan showing up in Impact Wrestling would probably be the biggest surprise out of that entire list. Essentially, with all the recent reports that everyone expects him back in WWE. If Daniel Bryan turns out to sign with Impact Wrestling, that will be massive news, especially given the fact that Impact Wrestling has the collaboration with AEW. That could mean Daniel Bryan could find his way to AEW as well. So Daniel Bryan could have some matches in Impact Wrestling and AEW, depending on how that entire situation plays out. But what are your thoughts on all of today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.